Ibrox for the first time since he left. Who else but none other than, it could only be he, the one and only King of the Cup, Graeme Souness. Graeme, if I can just say...
Can I just say something here about Walter Smith? He's a better manager than I first thought. I think it's great what he's achieved this year. Great run in Europe, possible domestic treble, and almost single-handedly reintroduced the sleeveless cardigan into Scotland.
Graeme, if I can just for once and for all clear up any rumours that I myself may have started during your time at Ibrox, well, it's you and Walter, well, were there any particular problems?
Yeah, for sure. There was a bad atmosphere in the dugout, but that was mainly because Walter refused to get his lucky blazer dry cleaned. Isn't that right, Walter?
Well, obviously, that's particularly true.
Walter, since becoming the manager of Rangers, you've found yourself the centre of media attention. Do you find anything particularly difficult?
Without a doubt, having to answer questions without saying obviously or particularly in every sentence.
It's the eve of a cup final, tension mounts. So how does a manager relax at a time like this, Graeme?
Well, I like to take it easy. Just, you know, maybe watch a few videos, like the Wallace Mercer story, and The Eagle Has Landed. My personal favourite is Clint Eastwood as Maurice Johnson in Unforgiven.
Walter?
Well, I'll listen to a wee bit relaxing music, wee bit Bon Jovi, bit Iron Maiden, wee bit of Van Halen, and then I'll go out and I'll pace up and down the corridors of the hotel all night.
That'll be because you can't sleep on the eve of a big game.
No, because I don't trust the players to stay in a room.
Graeme, you've got a lot on your plate at Liverpool, but do you still take an interest in Scottish football?
Yeah, for sure. I saw that Jim McLean finally retired. I thought that was really considerate of Aberdeen to gub them 4-1 on his last game. Meant that we Jim went out the game in an all-time low. But I was really surprised at the Hearts result at Brockville a few weeks ago. I mean, what a shock.
Oh, because Hearts lost 6-0?
No, that Crawford Baptist scored twice.
And so, finally, gentlemen, tomorrow night, will the Tennant Scottish Cup be back resting in this trophy room? Walter?
Well, in a word, I particularly hope that, in particular, obviously, maybe.
Can I just say something here about the Scottish Cup final? It's a better cup final than I first thought. Yeah, for sure, it'll be a tight game, a lot at stake. I think it's crucial that Jim McCluskey takes a firm line early on with referee Willie Miller.
Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thanks,
Jake. Andy got a ticket for tomorrow.
I've got a ticket. 40 quid.
20.
30 in Bruce Grobler.
Done.
Absolutely brilliant. Jonathan Watson, of course, is Graeme Souness. Great.
Oh, that was brilliant. I've heard the wee man do it before, but he's getting better at it all the time. That was great.
He's got the voice spot on, Eric, hasn't he?
Absolutely perfect. Really, the mannerisms, everything, it's superb.
That's right. And Walter deadpan.
Oh, it was brilliant there. It really was. Good.
I look forward to seeing Bruce Grobbelaar in a Rangers jersey next season. Very good. Anyway, let's turn our attention now to, in fact, another of our competitions when we gave two youngsters the chance to lead out the two teams this afternoon. Hazel Irvine spoke to the Lucky Two.
Hoping to be a lucky mascot for the Dons is 14-year-old Lynn Massey from Peterhead. She started out on the cup final path to Parkhead this week when she met up with the Aberdeen players at Pittodrie. Scott Booth showed her around, only to discover that Lynn is in fact as interested in playing the game as she is in watching it.
In academy, we just started playing girls' football not long ago. I went yesterday for the first time with my pal. So there's a lot of folk that play it now, a lot of girls.
Meanwhile at Ibrox this week, Andy Gorham gave a guided tour of the trophy room to his greatest fan, mascot Andrew Johnston from Stirling.
What kind of season do you think he's had? You can spare his blushes by telling us.
A good one. Saved a lot of goals.
This is going to cost me a fiver.
What kind of season do you think you've had, Andy?
I've enjoyed it. It's been obviously successful for the club. Won a couple of awards as well. Hopefully we can top it off on Saturday.
Okay, now you're going to be coming out with Andrew at this Celtic Park, what would your word of advice be to him as he's coming out and leading the team? What's it going to be like as you walk out there?
It's going to be chaos. It's going to be noisy, but I think the main thing is if you enjoy it, you might never get another chance to do that, you know. So
Yeah.
we might never get another chance to do it, so we're going to enjoy it.
What do you think it's going to be like, Andrew?
Great.
Russell. A gift now. Simpson. What's a 1-2? That's a good ball. McGee likes his position. It could be there. It is the winner. That will win the cup. Eric Black, 1-0. That is the end. The youngster who scored that goal in Gothenburg in the 11th minute of the second period. Believe it or not. Well, there we are, a gleam in the eye as bright as the Northern Lights.
Yes, but which colour of ribbons will be on the cup later this afternoon? Stay with us and you'll find out. Moving now into the last half hour or so before kick-off time here at Celtic Park. Both teams, in fact, out on the pitch enjoying the sunshine, getting a feel of what really is a very good playing surface indeed. And of course, this is the game we always play at this stage in Cup Final Day. The team lines have not yet been released. We start trying to work out which of those players is in the starting lineup and who's on the bench. Any thoughts, Ali?
I'm just looking at the lads there. I think I saw a big Stephen Presley, big Elvis warming up there. So it looks like he might be in the bench, Dougie, if I'm putting one and one together, getting two, that is. So which makes me a little bit concerned about Goffey's fitness. I see him out there, he's obviously going to start. There's big Elvis there, running off. So it looks like he'll be in the bench. Maybe it's cover for Goffey if any problems with Goffey during the match. I see Neil Murray out there as well, so I don't see a Dale Gordon. So maybe Neil starting wide on the right, Durant through with Haitley. Can still play Durant wide on the right. McSwiggan up front, we're still playing at it, but there's certainly one or two options here, a few permutations.
And Ian Ferguson, who has been in splendid form this season after all his worries with injury and illness. It must be good to see him back.
Dougie, absolutely delighted for Fergie. He's had a great season. He's a real Rangers man, as everybody knows, born and bred Rangers. And this season he's cleared up. He hasn't been so unlucky with injuries. He's had a fantastic season. It's really pleasing for him.
And of course he knows what it is to score the winning goal in a cup final as well, as he did at Hampden for St Mirren against Dundee United. And your great mate, the Bomber, who also was very much in the frame for Player of the Year.
That's right. Bomber's been really unfortunate this season. I think any other year, your automatic Player of the Year, sports writers, PFA, the whole bit. But he's just been a bit unfortunate that Andy's played so well. He's an outstanding season. People said were worried about when he first came to Rangers about injury problems and stuff like that. I think he got knocked back from Hearts with a medical. He's been a terrific buy. Pound for pound, he's probably one of the best signings Rangers made in recent years.
And the Aberdeen lads also out and warming up. We're looking for clues there. Scott Booth. I did hear a rumour this morning that Willie might leave him out, Eric, which would surprise me, I would have to say.
Yeah, definitely. No, I think Scott Booth will be on from the start with Pat Line in there, and probably Duncan Shearer through the middle, I would think.
We're hearing, incidentally, Eric, just to interrupt you, that on the bench for Aberdeen, Ian Jess and Gary Smith.
Gary Smith, yeah.
So it looks like Stuart McKimmie is in the back four, and clearly Booth will play up front.
Yeah, that's interesting. Maybe Stephen Wright will be playing the left-hand side. I don't know. I don't see Robert Connor out there.
So this is the game we always play, isn't it? Trying to work out. There are so many permutations in the Aberdeen side. It doesn't necessarily follow, I suppose.
That's right. In the back four, especially this time.
If that's the case, Luke, I must admit, I'd have to feel some sympathy for Gary Smith, because he is undoubtedly one of the great young prospects in the game. And personally speaking, from playing against him, a very, very difficult player to play against.
And blameless for the winning goal in this Cup
totally
final, really. I mean,
blameless. I tried to get him out of it by claiming it, but nobody was having it. So.
We hear confirmed, by the way, the Rangers subs will be Presley and McSwiggan, with Murray obviously in the side and playing in midfield. So it looks like Durant playing up front alongside Mark Haitley, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to say it's not too much of a surprise, but at the same time, I think Gary McSwiggan will be very, very disappointed. But the gaffer knows that Swiggy's always got a goal threat, and if things aren't going away with hope, then the Swiggy, I would imagine, would come on at some point. I don't think Durant will be a straight replacement for likes of myself or McSwiggan. I think you'll find Durant maybe playing a little bit deeper than Big Mark. Big Mark will obviously be out now, target man, but I think Durant will maybe play a little bit behind Big Mark and a little bit in front of the midfield.
I've also got to bear in mind, of course, Eric, there's every chance that both subs will play because we do have the prospect of extra time.
That's right, especially if it goes into extra time, then I'm pretty sure both of them, well, the whole 4 subs will come on at some stage. But obviously it's difficult to throw in subs at any time, really, especially in a cup final. And if the prospect of extra time there, and to throw them in early is difficult again. So it's, they'll all play, I'm sure, at some stage if it goes into extra time.
There's a thought that occurs to me, Ali. I mean, there are 3 players in that Rangers team, Andy Gorham there being one of them, Stuart McCall and Mark Keighley, all going in for operations next week. And that does tend to make you think, well, can they be absolutely 100% fit today?
I can see your point, Dougie, but I think the whole adrenaline, the occasional look after itself. There's none of their injuries serious. That's for sure. They wouldn't be out there in the first place. I think basically Andy's had a niggling knee injury. I think Big Mark's probably going in for about his 10th hernia. I don't know what he's had that many operations, the big man. I don't know what he's in for next. I think it's a hernia. And of course, we Stuart's had a little bit, I think it's from his tonsils. Certainly not stopped him talking, that's for sure. But as I said, obviously things that need cleared up. But obviously they want to tear him in any way from playing today.
Okay, we also hear that Ian Durrant, there he is, we reckon that he will certainly play today, and perhaps would have thought that the chances of Ian playing in a cup final were pretty remote when he had that horrific injury a few years back, and well, he's your best pal, Ali, I suppose, so you're perhaps too close to comment, really.
I'm a little bit biased, I must admit, but just for the way he's come back from what was an unbelievably bad injury. I mean, you look at the injuries, a la Gascoigne and people like that, who are having terrible injuries. But the injury that the wee man sustained that day was ridiculous, and it shows a lot of courage and determination on his part to come back from it. So it's great to see him back there. I don't want to put any pressure on him, but I think he'll be one of the key players today, and hopefully he'll produce the goods.
Right, well, let's just break away from those scenes as we look ahead to kick-off time, which is now not all that far away, to recall some of the great goals which have been scored so far this season in the Tennis Scottish Cup. Hopefully there might be a few more to come this afternoon. A goal of the competition for you to choose and to enjoy as we look back over the last few months.
Enjoy what we all hope will be a marvellous occasion. From Aberdeen, they've travelled from the north this morning, and they really are determined to make this a special day out. Conditions couldn't be better for the occasion, with the sun overhead and the playing surface absolutely immaculate. A tribute really to the Celtic ground staff for the way in which they've turned this stadium out this afternoon. And these Rangers supporters in the jungle, many of them, and round behind the goal to the right at the traditional Celtic end. And there's the jungle with the Rangers supporters populating that area. It will not be the last occasion, though, in which football will play. There's another game coming up, a charity game on Tuesday, which will see the last time the jungle is in evidence without seating. And a sea of red and white, it really is a glorious occasion. Colour at both ends. And that red and white certainly makes a huge impact on the proceedings. These Aberdeen supporters here, I think, with high hopes of a tremendous end to the season. So the teams will emerge very shortly. The treble is what these Rangers fans are hoping for only the 5th time in Rangers history. Twice in the 70s, 1976 and 1978. Back in 1949 it is the first time, then again in 1964, and Walter Smith has the opportunity this afternoon to be the manager who leads the side to a treble again. The long high view of the stadium with anticipation enhanced all around as the teams are awaited. Really is a tremendous setting, Billy.
Yes, it's a perfect occasion, a perfect weather, and a tremendous pitch for a cup final. I think it's a credit to John Hayes and his ground staff. They've got the ground in excellent order, and I don't think anyone will have any complaints about the condition. But we're looking forward to a good final, and hopefully it'll turn out to be that. And of course, these team selections causing great discussion around the stadium before the match, but we're going to have a very colourful episode in just a second or two, with the balloons behind each set of goals about to be released. And that really will enhance the whole colourful scene very shortly indeed. Fans waiting for that as the activity goes on down below us. A tremendous noise around the stadium at this stage, with just about 7 or 8 minutes left until kick-off. The team's due out of the tunnel at any moment now. There's that big red bag there behind the goal, which will house all these balloons until they're released in just a moment or two. And at the other end, it's exactly the same situation. Well, it's the first time since 1921 the Scottish Cup final has been played here. It has been played 4 times in all: 1902, 1903, 1913 and 1921, when only 28,000 people were here to see Partick Thistle's only cup win. Well, some balloons already. The white sheet there with the balloons, and all the activity in the tunnel area suggesting the teams are preparing to emerge from the tunnel. Well, there's been some delay before the cup final this season, but while there may have been some regret about that in the last week or so, that's all forgotten now. It's a tense atmosphere you would expect as the balloons are released at both ends of the stadium. The red and white for Aberdeen, the red, white and blue at the other end for Rangers, just adding to the colour of the occasion. And the teams are now emerging, led by the match referee Jim McCluskey. His linesmen are Ian Cathcart and George Maguire. Fourth official there, Bill Crombie, with the spare balls and the substitute boards. The mascots lead out the 2 teams. The welcome for the players, tumultuous. Tense moments before the start as the presentation party emerges there from the tunnel, led by the new SFA President Bill Dickey from Motherwell, Sir Hector Munro, the Minister with responsibility for sport in Scotland, and then the officials of the clubs with the Chief Executive of the SFA, Jim Farry, bringing up the rear. David Murray, the Rangers chairman, making his way to his seat in the director's box. Walter Smith being introduced there by Donald Finlay, the Rangers vice-chairman, to Bill Dickey, and Sir Hector Munro. Ian Donald, the Aberdeen vice-chairman, coming through there. The young mascot there for Rangers, Andrew Johnston from Stirling, attends Dollar Academy, 13-year-old, and his hero there is Andy Gorham there, shaking hands with Ian Donald. So the introductions going on. Bill Dickey, of course, will know all these players extremely well. Sir Hector Munro may not be quite so familiar. Peter Howster missed out last season from the Rangers side, but he's in for the start this afternoon. So the match officials there being introduced, they have such an important role to fulfil this afternoon. So referee Jim McCluskey, second from the right, it's his first Scottish Cup final. Already handled 6 internationals though, and 35 European ties. And here's Willie Miller bidding there to become only the 3rd player or manager, the captain and manager side, to the Scottish Cup victory. The Aberdeen substitute, young Lynn Massey, a 14-year-old from Peterhead Academy. So Ian Donald carrying out the introductions there, the Aberdeen vice-chairman. Stuart McKimmie, a very long spell out with injury, but he's back in the side. Mixu Patalainen, lost in the Dundee United side of 1988. Lee Richardson capping a brilliant first season for Aberdeen. Angus Meldrum there from Tennant Caledonian, the sponsors going through also.
So the Rangers team confirmed once again. Neil Murray will be the youngest player in the field at the age of 20. Ian Durrant wears McCoy's number 9. 4 of these players, McPherson, Ferguson, Houser and Murray, did not play in the winning team last season against Airdrie. And this is an idea of how they may line up for the match. Well, Durrant there beside Hateley may well withdraw a little, make it a 5-man midfield, but that's a likely formation for Rangers. On the Aberdeen side, Willie Miller had a number of selection problems. He solved them this way. With Stuart McKimmie coming in, Gary Smith, the unlucky defender, left out, and Ian Jess not deemed perhaps fit enough to start this match on the bench with Smith. And there could be a number of formations for Aberdeen, but here's a very likely one. The fullbacks could switch, of course, Stephen Wright and Stuart McKimmie. There's also the possibility of a sweeper and 2 markers in defence, and Mixu Patalainen could withdraw to a position wide on the left rather than starting off in a 3-man front line. So Mixu Patalainen had that disappointment in 1988, losing to Celtic in the final when he played for Dundee United. Willie Miller's first signing for the club when he became manager at the cost of £400,000. And Ian Durrant has come back from that dreadful injury sustained way back in October 1988, and he could be a key man this afternoon with a floating role up front for Rangers. So Scott Booth will be up front with Duncan Shearer. He's already scored his first international goal, the youngest player in the Aberdeen side at 21, and a big prospect for the future. Now Mark Hateley savoured that occasion a year ago when he won in the match against Airdrie for Rangers. He's played all over Europe, but still sees this as a huge occasion. So the tense closing moments of the build-up coming to an end. It's Rangers who will kick off, and the match referee there, Jim McCluskey, capping a very impressive career in the middle, the 42-year-old company director. He was a linesman in the cup final 10 years ago between these two clubs. So the 108th Scottish Cup final is underway, and Dave McPherson lofts that high ball hopefully forward, and indeed there is confirmation already that Stephen Wright is playing at right back and Stuart McKimmie at left back in the opening stages. There's been some tinkering in the midfield by Aberdeen also. They're opening up with 4 in the middle. Mason on the right, Grant and Richardson in the middle with Patalainen on the left, leaving Booth and Shearer up front. So these are the changes in formation for Aberdeen. The Rangers, though, it does indeed look as though Ian Durrant has taken up a withdrawn role, leaving Mark Hateley as a lonely spearhead up front. So that will give the Rangers midfield players like Ian Ferguson and Stuart McCall a licence to come surging forward in support of Hateley. John Brown has had his best season without question of his career so far, hoping to cap that with another Cup Winners' medal. There's Duncan Shearer, his first Cup final. Now Paul Mason, looking for Patalainen, an ambitious first-time effort. There's Brian Grant, and a fine effort there by Grant. The referee's given the goal kick. Grant thought that Gorham got a touch. But what a very sprightly start here by Aberdeen. The miss kick initially by Patalainen. The first-time effort from Grant appeared to come off the outside of the post.
Well, it's a very positive start by Aberdeen that they pushed 3 players forward. They look to be testing Rangers at the back, and they're really happy to go in the early stages.
So this 10th Scottish Cup final getting off to a marvellous start. Goff going in very late indeed on Booth. Well, Richard Goff's had a lot of injury problems this season. Such an influential member of that defence, the organiser, and Scott Booth will test him to the full this afternoon, I've little doubt. So a free kick pumped in here by Alec McLeish, looking for Irvin. He was marked by Goff. It's kept in by Mason. No, it had gone over for the goal kick. So an interesting formation that, with Aberdeen opening up, matching Rangers 4-4-2. Brian Irvine, the scorer of 8 goals for Aberdeen this season from centre-back. A very impressive tally. There's Durant. Murray's pass, looking for Haitley. A push in the back there by Haitley on Irvine. Clear foul by the Rangers striker. There couldn't really be any argument at all about that.
It was one of these challenges that I think Mark Haitley went in strong, but wasn't all that much wrong with it. But the referee probably just wants to keep a tab on things early on.
So still sheer bedlam around us coming from this 51,000 capacity crowd. Irvine returns the header. Goff winning it well there from both. Here's Richardson. Patalainen. Richardson again. No offside with Brown peeling back there. Looking across towards the linesman here. Well, it's interesting to find Scott Presley on the bench for Rangers. Maybe some suggestion, Billy, that Richard Goff and John Brown causing some fitness concern to Walter Smith.
Well, I think so. I can't think of any other reason. I thought maybe Walter would have used one of his more experienced players, but they may be just apprehensive that either Richard Goff or John Brown are still not completely recovered from the injuries they had.
Good play here by Mason. Still Aberdeen keeping the pressure on. This is Booth trying to get away from Ferguson. A very good tackle. And it's certainly a very business-like start by Aberdeen. Good play here by Paul Mason, and Gorham beating the ball to safety. So Stephen Presley and Gary McSwiggan are on the bench for Rangers. Gary Smith and Ian Jess for Aberdeen. Lots of movement inside the area here. McPherson following Patalainen everywhere. There's Alec McLeish in the attack. This is Shearer trying to hold off Brown. Now Grant. Back with Richardson. Tackle there came from McCall. It came in late. And Richardson didn't appreciate that at all. Well, he's in a short fuse, Lee Richardson. And Stuart McCall would know that, of course. Making that crunching tackle undoubtedly late.
It's really challenging. Actually, Stuart McCall can maybe consider himself just a little bit lucky that the referee didn't take his name. It certainly gives indication that he wants to win this game.
So here's Mason over the free kick. Wright offering an option on the flank. Receives the pass now. Led by Brown. Mason to Wright. Mason again. Very good touch, Paul Mason. Plus goes Shearer with Goff. Good marking there by Richard Goff. The Rangers captain was very sharp for that tackle. Well, Aberdeen clearly looking for a very brisk start to the match. They want to seize the initiative. They're going the right way about it right now. Headed by Goff. David Robertson was fouled by Scott Booth inside the area. It landed very awkwardly to Robertson. Well, the distinction of having a winner's medal for both these clubs. David Robertson in the winning side in 1990 for Aberdeen. Clearly fouled here by Booth, who was jumping into the fullback. So a winner's medal for Aberdeen in 1990, then a winner's medal last year for Rangers against Airdrie. Well, some hard thinking perhaps to be done among the Rangers players out there, Billy, because Aberdeen really have tried to take the initiative.
Well, they've certainly taken the initiative in the early stages, and they're testing Rangers at the back. I like the system that they're using because you've got Paul Mason playing very wide on this side and Patalainen holding a wide position on the left. So they're giving the front two lots of room to test the two centre-backs. And at the moment they're playing very, very positively, and they're testing Rangers at the back.
So the Rangers supporters realise now, they didn't know it before, they're in for a very tough match this afternoon. Haitley's header, good covering play there by McKinney. He's put under pressure though by Durant. Support comes from McPherson. Durant takes over again. This is Murray. Came off McKimmie, says the linesman. Throw to Rangers. Durant over hitting the ball, and that first concerted Rangers attack of the match ends in a goal kick to Aberdeen. So Davy Dodd standing there in the dugout area. There's McKimmie's clearance, and the offside flag is up against Scott Booth. This is McCall charging forward for Rangers. Durant takes over. Good covering play there by Miksu Patalainen, fulfilling that wide left midfield role extremely well. McKimmie forward, and the tackle from the rear by McPherson, adjudged fair by referee McCluskey. Here's Richardson, very powerful. And a hefty collision there with John Brown. The result is a throw to Rangers. The referee indicating Richardson had the last touch. Well, the fourth official, Bill Crombie's had to have a word with some of the Aberdeen coaching staff. They reacted very strongly to that tackle by McPherson on Patalainen, and Bill Crombie had to go across there to the dugout. Drew Jarvie and Roy Aitken not at all happy with that tackle, making their feelings plain. This is Shearer. Very good first time pass. Paul Mason. Stephen passed them on the outside. Comes off David Robertson's face. Here's Neil Murray. McCall charging through the inside left channel, supporting Mark Hateley. Good play by Irvin. Trying very hard to prevent the corner kick. Trying unsuccessfully. But he really did keep his eye on the ball there as Hateley tried to control that on the run. Good defending by Irvin. So Durant will take the corner. Goff has gone forward, so has McPherson. Headed away by Irvin, who is marking Hateley. That's John Brown. That is Mason's header. Here's McCall. Robertson at the back. Well, that played much too long for Hateley. He turns to complain to David Robertson. They wanted the ball pitched into feet. Was it touched on by McPherson? No, says the referee, not before it went out of play. In fact, the free kick's been given for a push by Patalainen on McPherson. Here's Durant linking with Hateley. Good play again by McKimmie. Well, out for the bulk of the middle part of the season, Stuart McKimmie, then played 10 straight games in a row, then missed the last 3. Here's Richardson. Looking for Shearer. That was a good opening for Aberdeen, created by Richardson's run from midfield. So the header away by Irvin. So here's McKimmie with the throw. Dave McPherson's header, McCall. Well, such a vital player for Rangers, wearing his lucky number 2 jersey. That's the jersey he normally wears when he scores goals, he reckons. All his goals this season scored in that number. Well, a late tackle by Brown. Once again, the Aberdeen bench is up to a man. McKimmie showing no malice there, or no ill will rather. Drew Jarvie and Roy Aitken on his feet, and we'll see why here. And a very clear trip by Brown on McKimmie. Still work for Bill Crombie, the 4th official down there. Free kick taken by McKimmie. Breaks off McPherson. Ferguson towards Murray. Grant caught Ferguson late. The referee will have to be vigilant here, I reckon. Murray going forward, running straight into McKimmie. This is Richardson. Inviting Booth to go sprinting through. There's no problem there for Richard Gough. So Richard Gough now has had the disappointment of 3 losing finals for Dundee United, then for Spurs in 1987, then for Rangers in 1989 before winning a year ago here in Glasgow, but it was over at Hampden, of course. That's Haitley. Oliver Hallstatt had to be quick to reach that. He didn't make it. Linesman flag up on the far side. Hallstatt's had very little chance so far in the opening 13 minutes to demonstrate his trickery on the left flank for Rangers.
Yeah, it's been a nice brisk start to the cup final, and we've seen some determined play in the early stages from Aberdeen. Richardson made some good breaks forward, but unfortunately for Aberdeen's final pass just hasn't picked out a man. But Aberdeen must be happy with the way they started the game.
Here's Durant in that support role to Haitley. McCall looking for Haitley, it's a great ball in. There's Durant. Terrific play there from Rangers and from Mark Haitley in particular. Ian Durant under severe pressure here. A great ball from McCall. Now you look at the direction here from Haitley, looking for Durant, with 2 defenders challenging, and that enabled Stephen Wright to tidy up for Aberdeen. Richard Gough, the header which goes straight to Brian Grant. Great pass that from Shearer, his first touch with immaculate. This is Booth, getting away from McCall. And he settles for a corner, came off David Robertson. Very swift counter-attack from Aberdeen. Well, so far, it's the kind of a final we have every right to expect from Scotland's 2 top clubs for the season. Powerful header there by Patalainen. Back with Grant. Here's Mason. An offside flag up on the near side. A free kick it is to Rangers. Well, that was a very fine move by Rangers from the reverse angle. You'll see the quality of the pass played here by McCall. Durant made the run. The header came from Haitley. There was Grant and Irvin making life difficult for Durant.
That's the threat that Mark Haitley carries, because he's so good there that he can get up there, he can hang, can pick out one of his colleagues. Durant was only inches away from opening the scoring there.
So that will give Rangers some encouragement. Willie Miller has now appeared down on the track side. The Aberdeen manager has come down from the director's box. Hasn't lasted long up there. So here's Robertson. Good play by Wright and by Mason. Delightful pass for Wright. Good running also from Grant, matched by Ferguson for Rangers. Good tidy play from Grant. Customary fashion. Breaks now off Hallstatt for Richardson. Gorham taking no chances, not the most decisive punch. It's McKimmie with Neil Murray. Well taken down by Irvin. Good awareness shown there by Paul Mason. Headed by Brown. Richardson caught late by Ferguson. There's some very tough tackling going on out there. Now Ferguson and McCall against Grant and Richardson in the heart of the midfield. Really is fascinating battle of strength and skill. Willie Miller now being spoken to by Bill Crombie. Clearly Willie Miller not happy with some of the tackles that have been dished out early on. And there was a foul by Ferguson on Richardson. Now Duncan Shearer may well try to test Andy Gorham from here. Could it be Richardson? No, it's Shearer. Disguised pass to McKimmie. Brian Irvin is there. There's a good header across the 6-yard line. Entitled to expect some support coming from that area, Irvin. And the Counter-attack is on, there's Murray, and excellent play by Snelders. Fine goalkeeping by the Dutchman. And what a great ball it was also from Stuart McCall from that deep position, looking for Neil Murray on the break. Well, it's a match which is shaping to be something of a classic. We've had total commitment, a lot of skill, some good passing, some tough tackling. Scott Booth. Misunderstanding there with Patalainen. Cross goes David Robertson. The free kick goes to Rangers. Well, I've always got some sympathy with the players trying to keep the ball in play, as Booth was trying to do there, but guilty a bit of wrestling on Robertson. Well, Scott Booth doesn't agree with the referee. Headed on by Haitley. And Durant is bundled over there by McLeish. McLeish complaining bitterly that his jersey was being held all the time. That's why he is so incensed. We'll see there a bit of a battle between McLeish and Durant. Well, he said a few words too many for the liking of referee McCluskey, the Aberdeen captain. So the free kick being taken here by Durant, rifled in well. That's a good clearance by Patalainen. Richardson helps it on. There's David Robertson. A casual, hopeful ball forward. McKimmie being invited to send that wide on the right for Mason, who slipped at the wrong moment for Aberdeen. There's McCall. Full of hustle and urgency as usual. And now Robertson. Halstra. Good challenge there by Stephen Wright. Halstra trying to get back. The throw it is to Aberdeen. 20 minutes of the Tennant Scottish Cup final gone. No scoring, but no lack of action. Foul throw given against Stephen Wright. So the Rangers team, there's confirmation of the way they have indeed lined up. Trent slightly withdrawn from Haitley, but otherwise a 4-4-2 formation. Haitley helps it on. There's Neil Murray looking for Durant. The interception by McKimmie. This is Richardson. Goff's header helped on by Ferguson. There's McLeish. Now Grant. Well, he was trying to pick out Paul Mason on the right. Some signs perhaps, Billy, that Rangers are creeping back into the match.
Yes, it's still an open game. It's still very much cut and thrust, but certainly I think in particular Stuart McCall gets a reputation for being a hard-working midfield player. But we've seen those two passes early in the game that he was able to open up the Aberdeen defence, and certainly the threat of Haitley is apparent.
So Stephen Wright performing with a kind of skill which had earned him a place in the Scotland side. Durant looking for Haitley. There's Wright. Mason underneath that. Brown's header breaks off Booth for Shearer. Booth waits in the middle. Good ball in the end. That's Patalainen. And now Mason. Well, trying to drill that across the face of the goal. Looking for an Aberdeen player to turn that towards goal. And Mason, such a skillful player, wide on the right of this four-man Aberdeen midfield. Irvin matching Haitley. Good pass from Ferguson. This is Halstra. Trying to get away from Stephen Wright. Young fullback did well. So too did Ryan Grant. That's McCall. A chance on here for Murray. The deflection and the opening goal for Rangers. 23rd minute of the match. Neil Murray for Rangers with the help of a deflection. And something of a disaster this for Brian Irvine, who miskicked there. Bad first touch by Murray, but he recovered and it came off Irvine at the end.
Brian Irvine has a disaster because he misses the first one and then deflects the shot. Here you see Stuart McCall plays the ball into middle. Brian Irvine completely mishits it. Neil Murray's on hand, strikes the ball, but it hits Brian Irvine and beats Snelders.
Well, what a facer that is for Aberdeen, who had performed so impressively early on in the match. But Neil Murray gets his second goal for Rangers, his second 10th Scottish Cup goal after a marvellous effort against Arbroath in an earlier round. Durant was on the ground, Alec McLeish committed the tackle. There's the missed kick there by Brian Irvine. He then was given a second chance here by that bad first touch by Murray. The shot then deflected off the unlucky Aberdeen defender. This is Ferguson, and now Stuart McCall. Goff has lots of space. Durant looking for Ferguson. That's Brown. Mason's header collected by Stuart McCall. Charged down by Grant. Alec McLeish, I reckon, will be a very important player now for Aberdeen. The captain will have to reorganise and motivate his teammates, make them believe again. And he also will have to ensure that Brian Irvine is not in any way despondent as a result of that misfortune. There's Richardson, now McLeish. Looking for Patalainen. Challenging with McPherson. That's towards Shearer. Two defenders are there. There's Mason. Great defending by Brown. He was very quickly in on Paul Mason. And he had to be. It was a very good chance for a split second there for Mason. Until Brown arrived. Durant's layoff. This is Ferguson. Looking for Halster. Fine play by Ferguson in midfield. Haitley is caught well offside there. I don't know if you knew about that. Well, we had an idea of the Aberdeen lineup before the match, but this is the way they have actually turned out this afternoon. A 4-4-2 to match up against Rangers. Booth and Shearer are the front men. Mason and Patalainen wide in midfield. The engine room is Grant and Richardson. Headed away by McPherson. This is Richardson. Patalainen's cross comes off McPherson. Hooked away by Ferguson. Very sure-footed clearance. That's McKimmie. Stephen Wright called for that square. There's Mason on the touchline. Has to win it back from Durant. Good play by Mason. Patalainen. Hooked away by Ferguson. Richardson turning it back as Cleash and McKimmie collide in their attempts to ensure Haitley made no progress. Richardson getting a lot of treatment from the Rangers supporters, having been ordered off the last league match at Pittodrie between the two clubs. Careless one by McCall. McCall will not be denied. Apologising to his teammates there. Irvine sends it across. There's Mixu Patalainen. And now Haitley. McLeish. Stephen Wright in space over here on the near side. Mason again makes the angle ahead. Booth and Shearer and Patalainen up front. Good challenge by Goff. Then goes McKimmie. A bit of climbing there on the shoulders of Haitley. Well, there's been a bit of frustration, Billy, for Aberdeen after their very good start. To find themselves a goal behind now must be a major blow.
Well, that's right, it is a blow because they started so well in the match. Having said that, when your centre half makes a mistake, it often proves fatal, and so it happened to Aberdeen. But they're playing well. They're keeping a nice width about them. Patterline is stretching on one side, Booth on the other, and the two centre forwards are causing all sorts of problems for the Rangers defence. Rangers defence doesn't look particularly confident at this minute.
In midfield again with Ian Ferguson. Now Richard Goff looking for Haitley. Good marking again by Irvine. Well, Brian Irvine trying to shrug off that error which gave Rangers their opening goal. He's had a very fine match so far apart from that against Haitley. David Robertson's header. That's Haitley. Alstra under pressure instantly from Mason. Durant took up good position ahead. That's for Murray. A chance undoubtedly for Neil Murray there. Took up excellent position coming in from the right, and Snelders kept his head, timed the dive well.
It's a nice little ball from Ian Durant, and Neil Murray makes a run inside the fullback, but just a little bit of bad control. First touch let him down, and Snelders was able to take the opportunity of a second goal away from him.
Some encouragement though undoubtedly for Neil Murray, the way in which he was able to run off his marker. Well, undoubtedly another occasion he will never forget, starting a first team match for the 17th time only, and it's in a cup final. Patterline and Richardson. Misunderstanding. There's McPherson. Well, Rangers are notoriously difficult to come back against. They do settle in a lead extremely well. There's a free kick though for that tackle by Irvine on Haitley. Approaching the half-hour mark now. Rangers leading by 1-0. In the box. Ferguson apologises to his teammates. John Brown finding Murray in space. Kimmy's clearance. Good play there in defence from Rangers, trying to keep possession. This is Durant. Taken out late by McLeish. Haitley finds Houstra. The advantage will applied, I think, by referee McCluskey. Here's Houstra. Back it comes to McCall. Durant has dropped back out of the penalty box. And no real threat there at Snelders. But Ellie McLeish, I think, is a very fortunate player. The referee took such a liberal view of that challenge on Durant.
Yeah. Durant's playing a difficult role, and that's why he tries a snapshot here, but he's playing a difficult role for Aberdeen to cope with, and I think Alec McLeish and Brian Irvine having a little bit of difficulty. He's not playing as a conventional centre forward, he's dropping off just that little bit. He's been given a bit of freedom, and I think Willie Miller will be just a little bit concerned at how easily Mark Haitley's making a bit of space for himself.
Well, the man of the match. Phone number there as David Robertson heads it out for the throw. Here's Stephen Wright now with the throw. A very important phase in the game for Aberdeen. They really cannot afford any errors in defence. And they have to try to get back on level terms as quickly as they can. It's a good tackle by Mason on Durant. A rather hopeful ball played across there by Wright. He's going up with Haitley. Shearer with Robertson. Throw goes to Aberdeen. Former Aberdeen player, David Robertson turning it out. So Mixu Patalainen has come across to take a long throw. Duncan Shearer hovering on the penalty spot there as Patalainen dries the ball off. Get a good grip. Trying to get distance into the throw, looking for Irvin also. Irvin is there with Goff. Set high in the air by Ferguson. There's Patalainen. Forward comes right. And a foul against Booth, sort of push on Brown. And Booth protesting, I think, that Brown was backing into him. That's his complaint. He may have some merit in that.
Yeah, I think Scott Booth was just a little bit early with his challenge and lent on John Brown. Nothing serious in it, but certainly the referee was right.
Haitley doing well against Irvin again, but always under pressure. Patalainen and Goff clash, but McKimmie heads it forward straight to McPherson. Brown to Ferguson. Mason comes back to collect for Aberdeen. Snelders taking no chances there about that being deemed a pass back. Durant sets off with Irvin and Chase. Good calm defending again by Irvin. Appears to have recovered from that setback with the goal. Brown sending it along. The offside flag was up against Haitley. Much to the annoyance of the Rangers supporters. Patalainen signalling for the ball from McLeish. He is the target. Carson wins it well. Murray towards Durant. There's Murray again. Tackled well by Richardson. Jimmy using Snelders. No question about that being a pass back. Goff doing well again against the presence there of Patalainen. Booth going in heavily on McPherson as the clearance was made. The referee will take action against Booth. He's going to book Scott Booth. Well, the referee is taking action at last. There have been one or two nasty tackles in the opening half hour or so. Scott Booth has been guilty of a couple of fouls. He'd also been doing a little bit of mouthing towards the referee, who's clearly decided that enough is enough. But we'll have another look at that and see whether or not Booth has any complaint.
Yeah, I don't really think Scott Booth can have any complaints, but I think what got his name taken in actual fact, he's been having a little go at the referee verbally beforehand, and I think when you do that, you always run the risk of having your name taken shortly after. You can't really complain about that at all.
Well, it's certainly one of the sadder aspects of the game, the way in which forwards' late tackles and defenders have become so prevalent. There was that low ball forward which preceded the Booth incident. So Gary Smith and Ian Jess warming up there, and David McPherson taking a long time to recover, giving some hopes, of course, to young Stephen Presley, who would be the replacement for McPherson. There they are, Presley and McSweengan. And McPherson's back on his feet. Gorham's free kick. Headed on by Haitley, straight to the arms of Snelders. Shearer going up early. Dropped kindly for Aberdeen. That's Patalainen. Came off Booth, who was trying to come back to remain onside. A very hefty challenge that. McLeish on Haitley. Well, the Aberdeen players, without question, are now harbouring a very severe sense of injustice against the referee, I think. They've been complaining bitterly. Willie Miller, Roy Aitken and Drew Jarvie also showing that they're not at all happy with the way things are going out there. Referee McCluskey having a tough task to keep this totally committed match under control. In goes Stephen Wright for Aberdeen. That's McCall. House trap.
Durant takes over. This is McCall. Hurster again. Gately peels off to make space. Neil Murray trying to control that. Was there a handball? Whether or not there was, it's a corner kick.
Yeah, Matt Haley's been difficult for Alec McLeish and Brian Irvine because he's peeling off them and he's finding himself a little bit of room. And Rangers are shooting after playing the ball in those areas, knowing his ability in the air.
So the corner kick being taken again by Durant. Ian Ferguson was there. Attacked instantly though by McKimmie, who did very well to put him off. Closed them down very swiftly, preventing a clear volley at goal. So the goal scorer, Neil Murray, the help of a deflection from Brian Irvine. Atalayan getting up well. Scott Booth and Duncan Shearer having great difficulty in making any headway against the Ranger defence. Here's Haitley testing Irvine. Breaks off McLeish to Richardson. Trying to find Booth with the pass. McPherson read that well for Rangers. Well, the service for Aberdeen has slowed up from midfield. It was impressive early on, but since Ferguson and McCall got to grips with things for Rangers, they've been finding it more difficult. But here's Booth on the break on the left. David Robertson there to clear. There's Patalainen. Richardson challenged by Ferguson very effectively. Here's Neil Murray. Irvine's clearance goes straight to McPherson. Ferguson to McCall. That's a good play from Rangers. Stuart McCall took a knock there from Paul Mason. Well won by Wright. Here's Duncan Shearer. Hauster gets back. Ferguson's back here. Confidence now appears to be surging through the Rangers ranks. They've come through a very sticky opening spell to take the lead. And they're now looking to be more and more impressive as the first half goes on. Ian Ferguson becoming more assertive in the midfield area. And on the track, Walter Smith is now looking very agitated down on the dugout area. There he is. He was gesticulating furiously a moment ago to his players. This is Murray. And now Durant. Tackled very heavily indeed by McLeish. McLeish is going to be booked. Well, there are clear signs that Alec McLeish's total commitment is just beginning to bubble over a shade. He's been complaining bitterly about a number of decisions made by referee McCluskey, and he allowed himself, I think, just to lose the head a fraction. And that final challenge on Durant, the last straw for the referee. So a second booking for an Aberdeen player. McLeish joins both, we'll see why.
Yeah, Alec was just a little bit rash there. I think what's frustrating him a little bit is that Ian Durant's dropping off. He's not making himself easy to mark, and I think both Big Alec and Brian Irvine have just become just a little bit frustrated. And undoubtedly, Big Alec's frustration showed through there.
So a discussion going on there, Willie Miller with Drew Jarvie and Roy Aitken, considering the options available, wondering how they can turn the game around again. Rangers are taking a grip now without question. They have that precious lead. 3.5 minutes remaining in the first half as Patalainen clears. That's Shearer and now Mason. And very good play again from McCall. He was so quickly across on Mason. That's Duncan Shearer. Now Stephen Wright. No one making a run into that area for Aberdeen. Shearer hoped that Booth would do that. So does Stephen Wright. Touchdown by Haitley. This is Durant. Haitley again. Strong play by Wright. Haitley's clear.
This is danger for Aberdeen. And a magnificent goal from Mark Hateley. The second for Rangers. And sheer delirium among these Rangers players. His strength and his pace and his accuracy earned that second goal. Sheer joy on the terraces for these Rangers supporters. And Mark Hateley drilling that almost through Theo Snelders. It's his 29th goal of a superb season. Houster did well. So did Durant with a delicate ball through. And there was Hateley looking up, assessing the options, and the power and the accuracy beat Snelders.
It's a delightful little bit of play, but Mark Hateley looks so strong, he's obviously benefited from the couple of weeks' rest, and he fairly bulleted that ball home, but it was the power of his run and the timing of his run. If you look at the timing, you see him, he goes right past the Aberdeen defence, looks up and smashes the ball into the net. He's certainly benefited from those couple of weeks' rest that he's had.
Well, what a major task faces Aberdeen now. Killer blow perhaps just before the interval. Here's Paul Mason. Now Patalainen sending over a good cross. Too close to Gorham though. Well, it really was an excellent goal. Look at the pace here of Hateley, because Stephen Wright is no slouch. Number 3 there, he couldn't get to that. It's drilled through the legs of Snelders. Clumsy challenge by Ferguson on Richardson. A free kick taken swiftly by Grant to Mason. A real test of character now for Aberdeen. A match which began so brightly for them. That excellent opening 15 minutes. And now they trail by 2. Stephen Wright couldn't pull that across. It is a goal kick to Rangers. Well, the noise you hear now coming from the Rangers supporters. Behind Andy Gorham and in the jungle here at Celtic Park. And the silence from the Aberdeen end. I'm sure they can scarcely believe this. Well, the treble looks to be a reality now. Hateley's header. Hateley colliding with Brian Irvine. The offside flag is up against Durant. Hateley's back on his feet, so is Durant. Well, the quality of the pass too from Ian Durant to release Hateley was quite incredible. Deftest of touches. There's Patalainen. Patalainen again with Ferguson. Gorham under pressure from Shearer. Kept his eye on the ball all the way. Went into injury time in the first half. There's been quite a lot of that. No joy in front of goal for Duncan Shearer so far this afternoon. Kimmy's header was cued. They'll throw it to Rangers. So we're close to the goal whistle now, and Rangers will be very, very content to go in with this scoreline, bearing in mind the way the game opened up. Durant tackled by McLeish. There's Mason. And now Richardson. Houser did well. Hateley making a run across the box. Ball's played beyond him. There's McKimmie. In trouble there against Murray. Brian Grant picks up the back heeler. And the presence there of Ferguson forcing Grant to play the ball out for a throw. The half-time whistle goes. Neil Murray, the scorer of the opening goal in 23 minutes, with the help of a deflection from the very unfortunate Brian Irvine, who made the initial error. But then the game looks to be made much safer now for Rangers by Mark Hateley's 29th goal of the season. That superb run and shot from a tight angle, leaving Aberdeen with a daunting, difficult task to come in the second half, trailing Rangers at this stage by 2-0. Billy, a tough task for Aberdeen.
Yes, undoubtedly. They will regret the opportunities that presented themselves in the early stage of the game when they had control. But gradually Rangers fought their way into the game. Unfortunately, a mistake by Brian Irvine gave them the opening goal. But certainly the second goal was a magnificent piece of footballing ability. A lovely little deft pass from Ian Durrant, but the timing of the run and the pace and the power that Hateley showed, it gave every cause to know why Hateley's a big thorn in their flesh.
Well, the first half, without any shortage of incident, has been tremendous entertainment, and still these Rangers supporters, in savouring the moment to the full, they seem to believe now that the treble is something of a certainty. I've no doubt in the Aberdeen dressing room, Willie Miller will be doing all he can to change all that, but for the moment it's jubilation for these Rangers supporters, and they look to be very much in the driving seat in this 10th Scottish Cup final. Half-time, it's Rangers 2, Aberdeen 0. With that, back to Dougie Donnelly.
Yeah, thanks, Jock. All the half-time songs and celebrations among the Rangers fans. Obviously, Ali McCoist nearly broke his other leg leaping in the air when the second goal went in. You have to feel a little bit for Aberdeen, because the first 20 minutes they dominated, Ali, didn't they?
Yeah. I'd be lying if I said otherwise. I was a bit worried if opening 15-20 minutes. I felt Aberdeen were a more composed team at the start, played some good football. A little bit unlucky in the first, I think it was the first 2 minutes when Brian Grant hit the post.
Sure.
But I felt when we get the goal, which was slightly against the run of play, we've taken control then. And from then on in, there's only been one team. And the second goal was a magnificent goal.
It was. Any prospect of the Aberdeen heads going down, Eric? Because that was a real stunner, the second goal, wasn't it?
It certainly was, especially coming just before half-time. As Ali said, I thought Aberdeen started really, really well. They looked very composed. They created about 3 or 4 chances, good chances, before Rangers scored. But since Rangers scored, they've gone to pieces, really.
Let's take a look at that early shot that the boys were talking about from Brian Grant, or early header, in fact, which at this stage might well have given. It was a shot, of course, not a header, and that obviously could have made all the difference, couldn't it, Eric?
Yeah, great hit, really early actually. I think it was only after about first minute or two, was it?
That's right, only a minute gone, yeah.
A minute gone, and if that one goes in, then it's all changed, isn't it? But,
he met it really well. He hit it perfectly, and I don't think he'll probably argue with me, but I don't think Andy was saving it had it been in target.
No, I don't think he was there. I don't think he was getting there.
And yet at the other end, Mark Hateley was already beginning to make an impression, and he very nearly set up Ian Durrant for a goal, didn't he?
He did, but the wee man for me has been an outstanding player in the first half, because he's playing in that zone, Dougie, but it's very difficult to mark. Aberdeen don't know where the defence to pick him up, or their midfield to drop back and pick up. This is a lovely ball from Stuart McCall. Mark's just peeled away what he does at the back stick there, knocks a great header across, and the wee man had my head on there, I think.
Eric, any thoughts on that one? Could Ian Durrant maybe have been expected to do better with that?
I don't know, there was a lot of pressure. There was 2 Aberdeen defenders coming in. I mean, the ball was kind of waiting up there, for him. Very difficult, very, very difficult.
It was a great move though. I mean, Stuart McCall, Mark does that very well. He just peels to the back post, and he's very difficult to mark. Stuart played a lovely ball, he knew where to find him.
That's right, Hateley created the space for himself, didn't he? But Aberdeen were always threatening at this stage in the game, in fact, and I mean, Duncan Shearer was causing a lot of problems at this stage, Eric, wasn't he?
Yeah, he had a few chances. There was one particularly that, I don't know what they're going to show here, but...
You see the ball is played wide to the full-back. We all expected Duncan Shearer to hit it, actually. It's a good header across. I must admit, I was a little bit worried when Aberdeen got that free kick, because I thought Shearer was going to hit it, because he's got the pants are short.
He done the very same thing up at Dingwall and put one straight into the stanchion.
But John Brown, once again, a rock in the centre of that Rangers defence, isn't he?
He's soaking up everything Aberdeen have thrown at him. He's immense, Bomber. I'd certainly rather have him on my side than play against him, put it that way, Dougie. He just epitomises all that's good about the modern footballer.
That's right. Duncan Shearer showed some lovely skill, in fact. This particular little taking out the cross and the volley and sending it out wide in the right was a lovely piece of football.
Yeah. I think it's coming here, it was magic. I mean, Duncan,
superb.
He perhaps doesn't get the credit he deserves. I think everybody just looks on him as an out-and-out goal scorer. But he showed some lovely touches here.
This is the one that just gets stuck in his feet. I think he's...
this is a separate incident, in fact.
Just can't get away from underneath his feet there, and he's standing on it.
That was a real bonus for us, actually, because if he crossed the first time, I think it was Booth that was
Booth was in, He was just in too early, actually, at the end of the day. He couldn't get across quick enough.
That's right.
But at this stage they were getting the Rangers defence turning and definitely causing problems. And I thought getting a lot of space down the flanks, particularly down that right-hand side, Ali.
Yeah, I felt a little bit, I was a wee bit worried, a little bit concerned that we weren't closing them down quick enough, and they were free getting the crosses in freely without any challenges on them. But as I say, since we scored the first goal, we seem to have put paid to that problem for the time being.
Let's take a look at the goal then, which broke the deadlock. Came almost exactly halfway through the first half, and obviously an element of luck about it. Let's just see exactly how the ball ends up in the back of the net here. Stuart McCall involved again.
Yeah.
I think it's a bad first touch actually by Murray. I'll not be too happy with his first touch there, and
it's amazing actually, because first of all, Big Brian, unfortunately for Big Brian, he made the mistake here where he miscues completely. And Neil doesn't take a good first touch at all, and then gets the lucky break. But
it actually comes off his back foot, I think, doesn't it? I mean, it has to go down surely as an own goal, Eric. I would have thought.
Come on, Eric, stick up for the strikers.
I've got to go for the strikers again. Yeah, I'll give it to Neil Murray. I mean, I would be going. Maybe too happy not to be awarded that one myself.
Yeah, I was never winning that argument with two strikers sitting beside me, but I don't know if the shot was hitting the target, was it?
I don't know, he was certainly hitting the right side of the area. The fact that
it was going across the goal as well, which is always dangerous.
Which was the right thing to do. Yeah. And I think it came off Big Brian, unfortunately, and went into the net. I mean, I wasn't saying that at the time, I must admit. But it was against the run of play. But ever since that goal in, Dougie, we've played some good stuff.
That's right.
But, as I say, the problem area being for Aberdeen, the Durant zone, just behind Big Mark and in front of the midfield. I don't think they know what to do quite with him.
Yeah, it's working well for Rangers because Hateley's on his own up front, and they're not quite sure whether to go and follow Durant or whether the midfield pick him up.
He's getting great support from Durant. I mean, the timing of his runs are tremendous when the ball's played up there.
To find that when the balls are coming from either fullback, if you watch Durant, he waits to the last minute and it just explodes onto the scene somewhere round about Big Hateley.
Yeah.
And even if it's not Hateley that wins the ball, Dougie, that's not really an important thing. If it comes off Big Alec, a bad header from Big Alec or Brian's as good as a good header.
Well, let's take a look at the second goal. In fact, created just as Ali says through that little incursion by Ian Durant. And if there was an element of luck about the first one, this was a beautifully made goal. Mark Hateley involved at the beginning of the
pass there, as we said before, is unbelievable from Durant. The weight of it just magnificent.
It's actually a 3-yard ball. See the wee man away there, he knows he's a good pass here. It's actually a 3-yard ball, and it's just amazing. Look, the weight of the thing forces Stephen Wright. I mean, it's going to come across him. And to be fair to Theo, he's a little bit unlucky. If it's going to go in, there's only one way it can go in, and it's through Theo's legs. And fortunately for us, it did.
Determination though from Hateley, tremendous. There's only one thing in his mind when he got on the end of it there.
He's just so powerful, you know, and it's really difficult to hold off in a situation like that. Watch. He gets his body across Stephen right there, and from then on, I think actually has a wee look up to see if I'm coming into the box there. But
it's a lovely clean strike, though, isn't it?
It's a great goal. It really is a great goal. Yeah. We've seen him do it before, you know.
That's right. So are you relaxing now as the treble won?
No, far from it. No, far from it. There's another 45 minutes to go yet to get in. I'm very pleased the way the first half, the latter stage of the first half has gone. To get 2-0 up in the cup final, I didn't expect to be doing it. But it's great, but there's still another 45 to go. And the dressing rooms, I'd like to be flying a wall in both dressing rooms because it'll be interesting. I'm sure Willie will be getting them going.
From an Aberdeen point of view though, Derek, what changes have to be made, if any?
I don't know, they just seem to be really disorganised after Rangers scored. They seem to be all over the place. It's 2-0 down and it's a big hill to climb now. But in saying that, Aberdeen could have been 2 goals up before Rangers scored, so a wee bit of encouragement, I would say, from Willie at half-time. Who knows?
Well, these are the incidents on which cup finals turn. The teams, as you can see, coming back out onto the pitch, or Aberdeen anyway. 2-0 down, an awful lot of work to do in this second half. Let's rejoin Billy McNeil and Jock Brown.
Thank you, Dougie. Yes, having a very close look here at the Aberdeen players as they emerge again to see if any changes have been made, but there's no sign of any substitutes. The goal scorer, first goal scorer, Neil Murray, comes out, and what an afternoon this is for him. The youngest man in the field scoring that vital goal, and then Mark Hateley, who really has been an inspiration up front for Rangers, scored the second. So Aberdeen now will be looking for a very fast start to the second half to get back in the match. We're looking for a lot of men like Lee Richardson there in midfield with Brian Grant. They have a key role to fulfill. And can Aberdeen pull this back? It will be a major achievement if they can. Trailing the champions by 2-0. And Aberdeen get the second half of this Tennant Scottish Cup final away with the very important task of digging in quickly early on, pressurising the Rangers defence as they did early in the match. But this time they were looking for some reward. But Rangers, really notoriously effective when they're in front at tying things up and keeping the lead.
Well, they've grown in confidence, and in fairness to him, and Mark Haley's a real threat to Aberdeen, and Durrant has played well in that in-between role. He's made life awkward. Both he and Mark Haley have made life very awkward for Aberdeen at the back, and it's difficult to see Aberdeen come back from a two-goal deficit.
I think they are one of the very few sides who would have any chance of doing that, and their big support will be hoping that they can find some inspiration early on. Mixu Patalainen preparing another long throw again with Brian Irvin coming into the penalty area. A flat long throw swept away by Ian Ferguson. Ferguson sometimes a bit of a slow start on the match, but he became much more influential as that first half wore on. There's Duncan Shearer. Ferguson again with the header back. We're looking for any tactical alterations, and there have been a couple made by Aberdeen. They've pushed Mixu Patalainen through the middle now in attack beside Duncan Shearer. Scott Booth has withdrawn to a wide left midfield position, and I wonder how long it may be before we see Ian Jess produced from the substitutes bench. Certainly the kind of player with the extra bit of quality which can make all the difference. A bad clearance by Brown. This is Patalainen. Shearer waits in the middle. A little bit ambitious, that effort from Patalainen against the goalkeeper of the quality of Andy Gorham. But Patalainen's had such success with 20 goals this season for Aberdeen, and had the chance here to come inside. He had Booth square, he had Shearer in the middle.
He comes inside, he on his favoured left foot, makes a possession himself, but never really troubled Andy Gorham at all with that.
No sign of Willie Miller on that Aberdeen bench for the moment. He stayed upstairs, and I can't imagine he'll remain there very long. So Booth now in that wide left midfield position for Aberdeen. That's McKimmie. So Scott Booth normally playing on the right flank when he drops back, as he did so effectively in that game at Pittodrie when he made the winning goal for Duncan Shearer in the league earlier in the month. That's Stephen Wright, beaten by Houstra. Durrant. Determined play there by Irvin. Cross goes John Brown. A kind break there off his heel to McCall. There's no offside here. David Robertson breaking. Well, at the moment it looks as though Aberdeen are able to get their foot in the ball in the middle of the field and play these telling passes forward to the front men. And that's because of the snapping attentions of men like Ferguson and McCall in that area. There's Brian Irvin. Patalainen. Grant playing it wide. An awkward one for McPherson, who he judged it well. The header down there by Patalainen. Richardson went in strongly on Murray. This is Booth. Trying to take on McPherson. They made that rather obvious. Good play by McPherson. The header down by McLeish. Collected by McKimmie. A call, I think, from Robertson to Brown. Houstra testing the pace of Mason. Good running by Houstra. And a good ball inside. This is Durrant. He has Haitley in support. Ryan Grant did well getting back. Match restarting at a hectic pace. It's McKimmie. Patalainen's header. No one supporting from midfield. That's another problem for Aberdeen at the moment, getting men into the box from midfield. Richardson and McKimmie having something of a debate in the middle of the field. Goff's header. This is Murray. Murray again. Mason's interception. That's right. Forced to hurry there again by McCall, right? That's why the error resulted. This is Stuart McKimmie. An arm of Grant to Mason. Here's Lee Richardson. Now Grant. Setting himself for the shot. It was blocked by Gorham. And a bit of good fortune there for the Rangers goalkeeper. He had some difficulty with that, but it broke very kindly for him. Duncan Shearer was closing in for the kill.
Yeah, again, Grant gets himself into good position. He comes inside on his right foot, hits a good shot, but Andy Gorham gets across easily, parries it, then picks it up quickly.
Forward from Grant. Took a knock from Ferguson. This is Stephen Wright. Houstra getting back, committing the foul. Free kick to Aberdeen. Well, here's this chance for Brian Grant. Took up good position there, and Gorham was in some difficulty. It could have broken off to him to Shearer. So the free kick taken by Stephen Wright. That's Patalainen. Lashed away by Robertson. Rangers have no doubt at half-time were thinking in terms of holding what they have for 15 minutes or so. Here's Hateley now in the chase. The ball bouncing too high there for him on the run. It allowed McLeish to get back. That's right. And Patalainen coming short. Looking for the pass, trying to stay onside. Instructions there from the bench from Davy Dodds for Rangers. He's waved back by Bill Crombie. There's McLeish. Header by Goff was a good one. Richardson there trying to control on the instep a very badly spinning ball. Very difficult task. Patalainen challenging. It's with Rangers again. Houstra playing it long, and across goes Irvin. A little bit of uncertainty there. Irvin tells Snell to leave that alone. Hateley's presence again, causing problems for Aberdeen. Here comes Houstra. That's McKimmie. And now Booth. Well, the little dummy didn't deceive Dave McPherson, who was very quick in the turn there. McKimmie. Goff again doing well in the air. Brian Grant. Here's Mason. He has Wright going on the outside. Grant inside. That's good play from Aberdeen. Stephen Wright's cross charged down well by Ferguson. This is Houstra on the counter-attack. Careless one though, straight to Richardson. Now it's Rangers' turn to break from defence with Neil Murray and McCall. Fine play again from McCall. Durant tackled by Shearer. Throw goes to Rangers. Well, Durant certainly has caused lots of problems for the Aberdeen defence with his elusive running, his positional play. Brown playing it over the top there for Durant. It's followed by McKimmie. Hateley well tackled by Mason. Fine play by Paul Mason. Now fouled by McCall. Mark Hateley thought he was fouled first. He's complaining to the referee. Touchline, gesticulating to his players, wants some movement, some changes. Bill Crombie hovering there, wants to wave him back. Well, not a happy man at the moment, the Aberdeen manager. not a man who accepts defeat lightly or easily. Forced forward by Wright. That's Shearer. This is Brian Grant. McKimmie makes himself available from the left. Shearer back to Richardson. Murray to Ferguson. That's fine play by Ferguson. Durant has Hateley over on the left. Well read by Wright. Mason was very quick indeed there. A great turn of pace. Getting the ball ahead of McCall. Here goes the cross. Dave McPherson's there. There's Richardson. Oh, hopeful effort that from Richardson. Had time to control that. And looked for a good pass into the box. Hateley again, so hard to mark on the run like that. Well, exchanging a few words with Brian Irvin, who is totally impassive. Ross header into midfield. This is Ferguson. There's Brown. Mason to Booth, has crossed to the right now. Well tackled by Robertson. Both McLeish and Irvin this time going forward. Aberdeen have to live dangerously now. Here's Mixu Patalainen with his long throw. Hateley was back defending. And defending just as effectively as he's been attacking.
Well, this is where Rangers have been successful. They have dug in at the back. They had an uneasy start to the game. Aberdeen put a lot of pressure on them. But they've dug in there and they're now making life very difficult for Aberdeen to get any opportunities for a striking goal.
There's McKimmie. Patalainen's return pass. Good running by McKimmie. Tackled well by Goff. Rangers so confident now. They're playing football calmly from defence. In goes Irvin. Hateley felt that. Richardson's header doesn't reach McLeish first time. There's Richard Goff. Hateley still lying in the centre circle, injured. And I think that maybe time to play it out. McLeish does so. Very sporting fashion. So Hateley will be allowed some treatment. It was a very hefty tackle he had from Brian Irvin. A fair one though. There was no free kick as Irvin went into that challenge on the Rangers centre forward. But Hateley certainly looks to be in some discomfort. Meanwhile, Paul Mason is going to cross to Willie Miller for some instructions. So an earnest discussion going on there. Tactical alterations being contemplated. Mason listening. Miller delivering the instructions. And now Paul Mason is passing on the information. Well, if there's one player Rangers will not want to lose at this stage, it's Mark Hateley.
That would be a blow to Rangers because he's had a superb match. He's been a threat any time they're in possession. He's a threat in the air, he's a threat on the deck. And he's linked up well with Durant. I think he and Durant have been a great success as a striking partnership.
So the substitutes there, Stephen Presley and Gary McSwigan, but they can take a seat again because Hateley is determined to continue. McPherson returns the ball to Aberdeen in sporting fashion after McLeish turning out of play. There's Patalainen. Here's Shearer with Booth on the overhead effort. Well, what a try by Scott Booth. The ball never quite settled in a good position for the Aberdeen strikers there. Booth trying to make something out of that. Good climb there by Patalainen. You see the ball bouncing awkwardly, and Booth had that brief chance. Patalainen playing it on. Booth tries to keep the ball in play. Just about made that. Trying to keep the ball deep inside the Rangers' half. The 6th match of the season between the sides. 4 wins to 1. Rangers lead by till this afternoon. Turn away by Murray. So just past the quarter-of-an-hour mark, still a 2-goal lead to Rangers, which Aberdeen are trying all they can to change. Patalainen, the long throw. McLeish is right on the byline. Irvin challenging also. This is McLeish. Back with Patalainen for the cross. Irvin going up. There's Mason, and now Stephen Wright. Playing it early towards McLeish. The back killer from Ferguson was effective enough. With both Rangers subs warming up seriously now. And Ian Jess also has been ready to leave the bench. A great punch out by Gorham. Superb goalkeeping. And now in the counter-attack, Haitley has possession for Rangers. Here's McCall. Durant is inside. Fine play by McKinney, but Bandy Gorham pulled off a tremendous clearance there with that punch under severe pressure. So Ian Jess now out there warming up. I think he'll be involved before long. Gary Smith also is preparing for action. Gorham's clearance. Irvin playing it along, both trying to put pressure on Richard Gough. Taking no chances at all. Well, an alteration is going to be made first by Aberdeen involving Gary Smith, who's now on the track waiting to come on. It looks as though Stephen Wright may be withdrawn. The throw by Patalainen, straight into the danger area, headed away firmly by McPherson. Wright's pass finds Patalainen. Away for the corner, off Ian Ferguson. And there's going to be a change now made by Aberdeen as soon as the referee's attention can be drawn. Stephen Wright is being withdrawn and Gary Smith will come on. The referee has now spotted that proposed change. So there's the unlucky man in terms of selection, Gary Smith. Stephen Wright is withdrawn and Gary Smith comes on. 22-year-old. See what position he plays in. It may well be he will go into a sweeper role as Aberdeen push men forward. We'll see about that in a second, but here's Durant for the meantime, breaking for Rangers. Losing out to Mason. Fine play by Mason. This is Booth. McPherson gets there first. And Aberdeen building up some pressure now. If they could cash in at this point, we could be in for a dramatic climax to the match. Mason's ball played in. And Rangers living very dangerously inside their own box there. This is McLeish. And now Richardson. Both with a turn. Just in a little bit of a hurry there with the final shot, but he certainly had a little bit of an opportunity there to turn on the ball. But you'll see here how dangerous this was for the Rangers defence. Never convincingly clear. It came off John Brown, then swept away by Gough.
It's typical of the way Aberdeen have played. They've put so much into the game, they've created some chances, but in and around that penalty they haven't looked quite quick enough.
Rangers trying to get forward again. Gary Smith to the cross. First touch there to concede that throw to Rangers. And Stuart McKimmie has crossed over to the right now. Gary Smith appears to be sweeping behind McLeish and Richardson. McLeish and Irvin rather, with Richardson in the middle of the field, still with Grant. Headed by Durant, headed away by Grant. There's Mason. Well won by McCall from Shearer. Well, Gary Smith, in fact, sort of dropping into a kind of left-back sweeper role. He's cutting across behind the defenders when required, but also looking after any activity from the Rangers' right. There's Booth. Well beaten by Goff. A call to Durant. Kimmy's quick enough. Oh, good play there by Snelders. Playing the ball to Smith. Here's Ian Ferguson. Calm play by Gary Smith, stepping away from Ferguson, setting off Booth in the chase. Brown will get there first. This is Patalainen trying to beat Andy Gorham. An early effort. Got him out of his goal. Still instructions come from Willie Miller to organise his team.
Sue Patterson sees it from a way out. He knows Andy Gorham's off his line, but didn't quite hit the target to put pressure on him.
There's McLeish's header. It's Patalainen. Well, things certainly not going Aberdeen's way at the moment. We're approaching the midway point in the second half. Rangers leading by 2-0. Neil Murray and Mark Haitley, the first half scorers. Smith finding Booth. That's for Richardson. John Brown gets there first. Richardson checks out of any rash tackle. That's Dave McPherson. Irvin's header. Mason. McKimmie. McKimmie again. Stepping away from McCall. Ball's out of play. It's an Aberdeen throw. Shearer. Tackle came from McCall. Fine play again. A clash with Richardson after the ball had gone. So we're 3/4 of the way through the Tennent Scottish Cup final. Rangers with this 2-goal cushion. And looking composed and confident. Ferguson to Brown. Kimmy finding Mason. Gary Smith in the left back position. A bad ball forward by Smith, but Aberdeen in possession again. Here's Booth. Attacking Richard Goff on the ground. Comes square for Mason. Trying a 1-2 with Grant. That's very good play by Ian Ferguson. Haitley on the left. Showing too much of that to Irvin, but Durant picks up the scraps. Advantage will apply as Durant goes down under that challenge from Irvin. McCall to Robertson. Pass goes astray. Aberdeen in possession again with a throw, but things certainly slipping away from Aberdeen at the moment, Billy.
Yes, that's right. They've had lots of control in midfield. They've had lots of possession of the ball, but up front they haven't looked quite sharp enough and quite quick enough to threaten Rangers. They had opportunities early in the game, but second half, while they've had a lot of possession, they've put a lot into the game, but they haven't really been able to break down the Ibrox back four.
This is Booth. Cut up by Ferguson again. Here goes McCall. Snelders has committed himself, going across there. Now the corner kick. Theo Snelders, I think, believed that was going for a throw, for a goal kick. Just for a moment, forgot what was happening in terms of the last touch of the ball. Certainly stopped any real threat, though, from Rangers as McCall tried to break. 20 minutes of the match remaining.
Ian Durrant's corner kick. Irvin's headed out. This is Ferguson. McPherson and Haytham Waite. Tremendous effort there by Brown. Blocked by Richard Goff on his way out of the penalty box. Felt the full strength of that. That's McCall! So close from Stuart McCall, and that would certainly have tied the final up. Yeah, he's had a good game, Stuart McCall. He picks the ball up, advances at the retreating defence, it's not all that far away the shot. I don't think Snelders was in a position to save that. That would have put the seal on a fine performance from Rangers and from McCall also in an individual sense. Not enough room there for Durrant under such severe pressure. McLeish playing it along, looking for Shearer, is up there with Brown. This is Neil Murray. The target was Haitley. Once again he wins it. Durrant is with McLeish. Fine play by McLeish. Showing excellent judgment while the ball was in the air. Duncan Shearer hanging there to get a touch. Linking with Booth. Mason rather with a pass. It's Housetrap. Now McLeish. Booth is followed by Goff. Tackled by McPherson. Confident play by Murray. Ferguson using Andy Gordon. Gary Smith playing it into space, looking for Booth. Good tackle by Goff. Well, I'd be surprised if Ian Jess wasn't introduced before long. In fact, he's been called from behind the goal. That's why there's such applause from the Aberdeen supporters. They realise that Ian Jess is being called into the final. Sprinting around the track now, responding to his manager's signal. Walter Smith making certain that Rangers don't slacken. So the discussion goes on, the manager and player. What a dramatic comeback this would be if Ian Jess could turn this match around. It looks as though Duncan Shearer may come off. Goff up there with Booth. Shearer getting a touch. There's Paul Mason. Pulled it back well, and Goff won it ahead of Patalainen. Mistake there by Gary Smith. Rangers in possession in midfield. Careless one by McCall. Smith another chance. This time picks out Mason very accurately indeed on the right. This is Brian Grant. Interception made by Brown. Ferguson to Murray. Durrant's return pass, a brave interception by Smith. Murray had his foot up. And now the substitution we made by Aberdeen. Referee McCluskey looks across. So it's Ian Jess coming on. The player going off is Duncan Shearer, who's had a lean time of it this afternoon against his Rangers defence. Now, can Jess work the miracle? Only about 16 minutes to work his magic. Welcomed by the Aberdeen fans. So McLeish with a free kick. Headed across by Booth. Goff did well under severe pressure from Irvin. That's Durrant. Now Ferguson. McKimmie gets there first, ahead of Haitley. Spinning away from Murray for Mason. Chase on now for Booth. Goff tries to match him going across. Booth's cross, well taken by Gorham. Ian Jess indicating he'd have preferred that to the near post.
Booth couldn't oblige, though. Did well to get the ball across at all, though. John Brown was quick to the ball there. There's Durant. And now Houstra. Haythey's waiting in the middle. Houstra going all the way himself, but was deflected. It'll be a corner kick. Well, not quite the same dig in his right foot as he has in the left, Houstra. Peter Houstra looks to be set up for his first Scottish Cup medal. Durant taking an outswinger. Oh, he'd like to take a short one. Didn't get the appropriate response from his teammates inside. Down goes Goff under that challenge with McLeish. In fairness to the Rangers captain, making no complaint and asking for nothing from the referee. That's McKimmie. And now Smith. Mason's crossed to the left. Jess has made a run forward. Here's Jess. Trying to hold off Dave McPherson. Determined play by Jess. Back it goes to Mason. Here's Richardson. Grant. Goff doing well against Booth. Well, was it a pass back? The Aberdeen players think so. The referee doesn't. Controversial moment there. Goff certainly got the last touch on that.
I felt at first in that show play that it was a back pass. I'm not just quite convinced it was, but it was an interesting one for a moment or two.
So, Aberdeen trying to get forward again. They have a free kick. McKimmie will take it. Here's Gary Smith. The noise again coming from the Rangers supporters. Miscue by Patalainen, but there's Grant. Irvin was quick. Here's Richardson. The deflection, and Aberdeen are back in the match. The first break in the game for Aberdeen. The deflected shot from Lee Richardson, and there are 12 minutes left for play, and hope suddenly for these Aberdeen supporters. There was Richardson looking up, striding into the gap ahead, driving the ball fiercely. It came off John Brown, and that left Gorham without a hope.
Lee Richardson runs against a retreating defence. Rangers are actually, in actual fact, defending too deep there, and when you've got as many defenders in there as that, there's always the chance of a deflection. That's what's happened. Makes a real last 10 minutes or so of the game.
Well, a shot there from Richardson. He'll take the credit for that. So now it's the turn of the Aberdeen supporters to build up the noise, supporting their team. Could there be a dramatic ending now? Could Aberdeen force extra time? Offside against Haythey. So here's Richardson again. A lot of space to come forward here. Brown coming across. Rangers defending very deep indeed. And Gorham left off balance. Goff's header. All looked so comfortable a moment ago for Rangers. Suddenly they can expect a real battering ram approach from Aberdeen in these closing minutes as they seek out an equaliser. Well, Aberdeen will claim that justice has been done because the first goal for Rangers was a wicked deflection off Neil Murray's shot. Willie Miller's in trouble. He's down there on the track. Jim McCluskey's going to cross. Now it's Bill Crombie who's trying to calm down the Aberdeen manager. McKimmie to Jess. Patalainen couldn't get there, nor could Mason. Played first time by McCall or Durant. Good reactions from Smith. Here's Lee Richardson, holding off Ferguson and McCall. Well, that's some task that for Richardson, getting away from Ferguson, running straight into McCall. This is Booth. Back to McKimmie. Goff did well with a headed clearance. The loose ball falls to Aberdeen in the form of Lee Richardson. Gary Smith behind. Grant the square. McKimmie asked for that. He got it delivered to the right spot, and Gorham did well. And Walter Smith now is the man on the track. He's trying to push his players forward. He's not happy with them defending so deep.
This is a good pass and a good run by Stuart McKimmie. Not all that far away from setting up a chance.
Walter Smith not happy. He's watched his team dropping back.
No, I think he's worried, Jock, because I think his team tried to kill the game, and obviously that deflected goal by Lee Richardson's opened the game up for Aberdeen again. And once again, just as they were at the start of the game, Rangers' defence looked as though they're under a little bit of pressure.
Aberdeen supporters have come to life. It looked so black and despondent for a while, but now the game is on. Strong play by Patalainen. It's back with McKimmie. Jess makes a run. Was he offside? Yes, says the linesman. He certainly looks lively in Jess, anxious to make an impact. Well, that suggests that that's a tough decision on Ian Jess. Came off the head of Irvin. This is Houstra. Now Richardson striding forward from midfield for Aberdeen, trying to hold off Ferguson. Great play that by Ian Ferguson, so committed and determined. He does an excellent job in that area for Rangers, so strong and powerful and quick. Wow, what an arena we have here for the closing stages of this Tennent Scottish Cup final. Played in there by Grant from the free kick. Irvin was there, there's Patalainen, helped away by Murray. Durant now on the breakaway. He has McCall for support through the inside left channel. Here's Stuart McCall, will return it first time. And very good play by McKimmie. He's got some injury, he's struggling a little. Richardson again. Here's Gary Smith. A long chase here for Jess. Forced away there by Brown. Well, that was created by Jess's determination. He wasn't content to allow that to go harmlessly behind. All the big men up. A lot of jerseys being held too inside that area. Brian Irvin in particular complaining to the referee his jersey was held, and he's right, it certainly was. It's all the way across to Mason. Here's Booth. Tackled firmly by Goff. There are 6 minutes left. The Aberdeen supporters giving tremendous vocal backing now. They sense the prospect of extra time. Here's Richardson. He's overhit that, I think. Asking too much of Irvin on the byline. So the pressure removed for a moment for the Rangers defence. So the Aberdeen supporters doing everything they can, but the Rangers fans also building up some vocal support as Irvin wins the high ball from Haitley. What a final this is. Here's Booth. Well, the elbow work by McPherson, penalised by referee McCluskey.
Aberdeen certainly are having a go, and at the minute they look the fresher team, they look the stronger team, they look as though they've got a greater appetite at the minute. But Rangers will regret, I think, trying to kill the game in the second half, just a little bit.
Gary Smith's free kick. Reaches Brian Grant. Led in by McKimmie. Goff challenging. Back with Mason. Pressure remaining on. Handball claimed there inside the area. And Aberdeen are denied again. Rangers breaking. The Aberdeen concentration perhaps has lapsed there for a second. They think they should have had a penalty. And the pass is overhit by Housetrap. Well now, a controversial moment as the ball was lofted into the area. A hand was certainly up. It came off the hand of John Brown, but was it intentional? That's the question. The referee decided not. Certainly Brown was well off balance when he made that challenge, so it may well have been accidental, but Aberdeen not happy. 4 minutes plus injury time remaining. 2-1 to Rangers. And a riveting cup final goes right to the last ditch. Glasgow's Miksu Patalainen, number 11 there to take this long throw. Only Alec McLeish staying back this time. Irvin has gone forward. Rangers have left Durant on the halfway line. Rowan Ellis back defending. Hateley did well there. There's McKimmie. Richardson with a cushion header. Brown goes up. David Robertson lashes the ball out of play. All hands to the defensive pump now for Rangers. And great credit due to Aberdeen for the way in which they've made this such a competitive final. Rangers want to make a substitution. Helped on by McLeish this time. Up goes McPherson. Houster back defending. Rangers are going to bring on Stephen Presley. That's Ferguson. Durant will get there in time to hold the play up, I reckon. Just keep possession for a while. Here's Ian Ferguson. Still Ferguson. McPherson plays it across to Neil Murray. Here's Ian Durant, who's just been named the sponsor's man of the match. A fine display. Played forward there, kept in play by Snelders, who's in a hurry to get the ball back upfield. Ian Durant has been given that accolade of man of the match. It wasn't an easy one to win, I can assure you. There were a number of contenders. Patalainen with Goff. Here's David Robertson. Stopped by McKimmie. Well, can Aberdeen maintain the pressure right to the end, looking for one glimpse of goal before the end? Here's Gary Smith. Now Snelders. That's good play by Snelders, showing increasing confidence now with the ball at his feet. 2 minutes remaining. The pass from Gary Smith wasn't good enough. Frustration in the face of Paul Mason, who was the target. Still, Rangers want to make a change. They want to shore things up for the closing minutes. Stephen Presley waiting to replace Peter Housetrap. The 19-year-old Stephen Presley comes on. Neil Murray goes across to the left to the place vacated by Housetrap. And Stephen Presley comes right across to the right. The Rangers showing due respect to Aberdeen in these closing minutes. It's a throw to Aberdeen. Back it comes to Snelders. So everyone forward now for Aberdeen. 1 minute plus injury time. Richardson leaves that to Mason. Fouled by Ferguson, but still on his feet, so the referee waves play on. This is McLeish. Can Aberdeen do it before the end? Rangers hanging on grimly now. Irvin looks up. Looks for Patalainen, who gets up extremely well there. The ball is hooked away again. Jess and Mason were in on that. Up goes Robertson. McKimmie returns it. Back with Irvin. Grant to Richardson. Now Brian Irvin. Back to McKimmie. Presley couldn't reach that, but it's gone beyond the batter line in for a throw, and the referee says came off Stephen Presley. So he's given Aberdeen the throw. This could be crucial. Alec McLeish makes his way into the area. Patalainen launches the ball into the danger area. Swept away there by Durant. The defiant show scars from Aberdeen, but the noise now from the Rangers supporters who sense victory. They sense the trouble. Launched forward again by Gary Smith. That's Irvin. Played away by Robertson. Durant's in the clear once more. Taking the ball for a run. He'll head for the corner flag, I reckon. Just take it up there and invite Aberdeen to play the ball out of play. Down he goes, fouled by McLeish. So the pressure is off Rangers, and it may now be too late for Aberdeen. McLeish goes back. Free kick's been taken short. Rangers prefer to retain possession. Murray to Durant. There's the cross towards Presley. It's a shade too high. Here's Mason. Inside to Smith. The referee's been checking his watch. The whistling comes from the Rangers supporters. Gary Smith switches the ball to the right to McKimmie. A little lapse in control there. Not surprising so late in the match when fatigue is setting in. Good tackle by Irvin. This is Paul Mason. And the final whistle goes. Rangers have won the cup. They won the treble. But they had to battle right to the end to do so. Walter Smith comes on. He's won the treble as Rangers manager. He goes straight to Mark Hateley, and that is thoroughly justified. Going round all these players now, but it is significant, I think, that he went straight to Hateley, who played such an important part, not only in this victory, so in the season's triumphs. Ian Durant also getting a warm hug from his manager. Andy Gordon's been such a hero also. These Rangers supporters been waiting 15 years for a treble. The last done in 1978, John Brown, warmly greeted by his manager. And for Aberdeen, it's disappointment. But for Rangers, it's a triumph again. And these supporters waiting now for the trophy to be presented. Rangers went 11 years without winning the Scottish Cup. They've now won it twice in a row. It means they've won all the domestic trophies this season. Ali McCoy goes onto the field to join his teammates. He's left the studio position beside Dougie Donnelly. Well, evidence again, I think, of the remarkable team spirit among these Rangers players. It's team spirit like this which has carried them through such difficult times, and they've turned out triumphant in the end. Well, it could scarcely have been closer in the end. Rangers hanging on desperately to win the 10th Scottish Cup, and now the Aberdeen players make their way up the newly constructed trophy area at Celtic Park. So Alec McLeish goes up. He's won the cup 5 times. He's never been a loser in a cup final, a Scottish Cup final. And now he has to go up to collect the runners-up medal from Bill Dickey, the SFA president. Sir Hector Munro also there. But dejection for these Aberdeen players. It's a very poor consolation they'll feel, having started this match so well, having lost a grip for a long time, and then having finished so strongly. You can tell on the faces, defeat is not acceptable to these Aberdeen players, and they've had to accept it this afternoon in the most trying of circumstances. Ian Jess couldn't turn it around completely, coming on as substitute. So the noise building up again among the Rangers supporters. They wait to see Richard Gough collect the trophy for the 2nd year in succession. Well, the Aberdeen players have returned to the field. They'll no doubt go and applaud their own supporters for the tremendous backing they had. And that response is reciprocated by the Aberdeen fans to the left. So now the stage is cleared for the winners. The Rangers, led by Richard Gough. Well, it's a scene reminiscent of the Wembley staircase, this. Newly constructed for the purpose. So Richard Gough goes up to collect the Scottish Cup from Sir Hector Munro, the Minister of Sport in Scotland. And there's the scene the Rangers supporters were waiting for. Rangers have done it again. The trophy has passed down the line of players. The Tennent's Cup is also presented. So the treble has been achieved. For the first time since 1978. Young Stephen Presley there came on for the last few minutes. Peter Houstra's first winner's medal. Mark Haitley's second. And Gary McSwiggan there, who didn't come on. And Ian Ferguson, who became so influential, who won the Cup for St Mirren in 1987. And Stuart McCall, so important again in the Rangers engine room. Ian Durant, the man of the match. And Ali McCoy's there with Scott Nisbet, Ali Maxwell, David Hagan, and the Rangers coaching staff. Ian Durant holding the trophy as he comes out for the lap of honour. So tremendous noise around the stadium still as the Aberdeen supporters depart. The Rangers supporters will be here as long as their heroes remain on the field. The sea of red, white and blue greeting the Rangers players as they re-emerge on the playing surface for yet another scene of celebration. Rangers certainly becoming used to that now. Walter Smith with the trophy, applauded by the Rangers supporters. He's done a remarkable job in his 2 seasons in charge. So Walter Smith has won 5 out of 6 domestic trophies in his 2 seasons. Only the Skoll Cup 2 years ago eluding him. So the photographs being taken now for the morning papers. So the singing goes on among the players now. So there's Ali McCoy's right foot, encased in plaster, but he couldn't resist this moment. So the trophy will now be displayed at closer range to the Rangers fans. Well, becoming used to this, these Rangers players. There's John Brown, an undoubted hero for Rangers all season. So Walter Smith is now down the track with Rob McLean.
Walter, that treble moment, how are you feeling?
It was terrific ending there. We were just delighted to get through the game in the end. Aberdeen put us under a great deal of pressure last 20 minutes or so, so we're just delighted to get there.
That first goal not only put you in front, but it also seemed to kill off Aberdeen because they were never the same again.
Well, I don't know about that. 2 deflections for 2 of the goals out of the 3. And, you know, Aberdeen, I mean, a fair bit of pressure at the end. I don't know how you can say they were never really in it. I was certainly concerned enough.
A long, hard season for you, and you must be delighted. I mean, how do you follow this?
Well, you've just got to, haven't you? But I'm just delighted. I think for the players, I mean, they've had to put up an awful lot this season, an awful lot of pressure, an awful lot of games, and they've handled it all well.
Ian Durant, superb and worthy of man of the match.
Without a shadow, played really well. And terrific performance from him. He's came in at different times and played very well for us this season.
Have a good night, well done.
Thank you.
So delighted Rangers manager Walter Smith And little wonder what a remarkable record he has in management. The players now showing the trophies. There are two there, the Tennent's Cup and the Scottish Cup, being displayed to the Rangers supporters around behind the goal there. Ali McCoist, never far from the action, posing for the photographs. Scored a winning goal, of course, in the semi-final against Hearts, McCoist. There's Neil Murray, with a smile of satisfaction, the 20-year-old, scored the opening goal. Well, a very long, arduous season ending in triumph for Rangers. So 51,000 capacity crowd, now reduced somewhat by the Aberdeen contingent, making their way to the exits. But the Rangers supporters savouring this occasion again. Peter Halstra in the dark glasses. So Mark Catley is there for
another cup winner's medal, Mark, and another goal. Well done to you.
Yeah, it was a nice day. I think we started well. We started how we needed to start, and as you can see, everything made for everybody.
How did you feel the game went? Because that first goal seemed to knock the stuffing out of Aberdeen a bit, and they struggled to come back.
I know, the first 20 minutes was always going to be important. We started well, we got a goal, a fortunate goal with a deflection. And then we scored, right before half-time. I think that basically sealed the game for us. We got a bit tired in the second half, because we just put so much in the first half. But I think we did enough in the first half to clinch again.
You were talking about a treble beforehand as being a 1 in a million, so you must be feeling just fantastic now.
Yeah, well, this is what we set out to do. This is what the fans expect, and this is what they've got.
And Pig Leg hobbled on at the end as well.
That's right, yeah, that's right.
Well done.
Cheers, thank you.
Well, an undoubted hero again for Rangers. Here's Richard Goff.
Since John Gregg to lift the treble. Is this the pinnacle of your career, Richard?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, I've had a lot of great times in my career, but I think this has got to be down to the best. You won your 3 domestic trophies in one season. It's absolutely fantastic as well. I mean, the crowd, the support that we've had again today from there, the boys, it's unbelievable, And we couldn't let them down. There's no way we're losing today's game.
Congratulations, Richard. Well played.
Thank you.
So, Richard Goff, the Rangers captain. So the Rangers players going right around the stadium now. So still scenes of real joy. Ali Maxwell, the reserve goalkeeper there also. Mark Catley now bedecked there in red, white and blue with a cup aloft. And John Brown with some natty headgear also. Well, Super Rangers, hard to deny that on this season's evidence. The effective semi-final of the European Cup, the winners of the league, the winners of the Skull Cup, and now the winners of the Tennent's Scottish Cup. And still there appears to be no boredom with such success among these players. Well, the Rangers supporters staying here to a man, not an empty part of their end of the ground. So different at the other end, though. Well, John Brown looking like the man about town now. And the players greeting the supporters at close quarters there. Photographs being taken. And appreciation being directed towards those Rangers players for their efforts of a very long, arduous season. Now Walter Smith back in the stand. His wife there on the right of the picture. Well, the handshakes could go on all evening. Rangers supporter probably did not pay to get in. Koala Bear in blue and white. Ian Ferguson, who won in 1987 for St Mirren, scored a winner against Dundee United. Andy Gorham, who came to Rangers to try to win trophies, and they've got a replica one also already. The top hat falls off Stuart McCall's head. And the players now making for the dressing room to greet the photographers who are lined up to greet them. So the players heading across the field. Ali McCoy is moving very swiftly indeed. So to learn how to work these crutches. Going to the main stand there. And a battery of photographers there waiting for the Rangers players. Look at that line up there. Little boy will remember this for a very long time. The players still there, posing for the photographs. And it's quite remarkable, the noise which has continued relentlessly since the end of the match. So Rob McLean now is on the trackside.
Man of the match, Ian Durrant, well played, you must have loved that.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's been, as I say, a great end to the season. It was a bit hard the second half, but I thought the boys were a first half performance just edged it.
Do you feel that overall you were well worth it?
Second half was very tough. I think Aberdeen put us under a lot of pressure and they played very well, but we had a right few good chances in the first half and I think we merited the win.
You're obviously particularly delighted with the pass from Mark Hateley for goal number 2, which was like through the eye of a needle.
If I'd never passed it, I don't think I'd be standing here. But he made a great run from it. It was easy. I just put it in him, but it was a great finish.
Enjoy your night. Thanks, Ian.
Thank you, Will.
So the man of the match, Ian Durrant, makes his way to the dressing room. It's been an outstanding performance again from Rangers. They won the treble, they won it with some style, but remember to Aberdeen and their contribution to this match. And the man who scored the first goal was Neil Murray.
Neil, are you claiming that goal as your own?
Certainly am. I certainly attempted it to fire it into the back post. It didn't turn out that way, but however, you get the rub of the green sometimes. I got it this time, scored the goal. That's good enough for me.
What does this win mean to you? It's really your first year in the first team.
Yeah, it's my first year in the first team. Especially, it meant a lot more than normal probably because it was a treble, and I think there's only 4 teams, or 4 Rangers teams certainly since the Football League began that have achieved that. So it's a great achievement.
And of course, Champions League appearances. Does this cap it all, though?
Yes, it certainly does. Champions League was a big thing, but I've never felt so much nerves prior to this game than previous. This was certainly the most nervous I've been getting into a game.
So what's next for Neil Murray?
Well, hopefully we can maintain this kind of form and go on and win a treble next year. That's the only thing we can hope to do.
Excellent, well played today, Neil. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So the Rangers supporters now spilling out to the streets, making their way back into the city centre for the celebrations, which will go on long into the night. The Aberdeen supporters have left, of course, by now, but they will recognise the massive contribution made to an excellent final by their team, who came so close in the end to snatching a replay, or extra time rather. And the Rangers supporters are triumphant again as they leave Celtic Park. So the final score, the Tennis Scottish Cup final, Rangers 2, Aberdeen 1. It's back to Dougie Donnelly.
Yes, wonderful scenes of jubilation and celebration here at Celtic Park as Rangers complete that domestic treble. Eric and I have been abandoned, as you saw. Ali McCoist has joined his colleagues on the pitch. We tried hiding the crutches, but to no avail. And we'll look back over the second half. And I tell you, incidentally, that Ian Durrant's nomination as man of the match has meant that James Shoren is our winner of the man of the match competition. There he is. James is from Arbroath. They went out, of course, to Rangers, his local club, on the way to the final. But he was right. Ian Durrant, man of the match. There were nearly 10,000 of you called in. Thanks for those, but our winner is to James. Eric, disappointed obviously for your friends in Aberdeen, but over the piece I don't think you can take anything away from Rangers, can you?
No, I don't think so. Aberdeen did start well, and obviously they put Rangers under an awful lot of pressure in the last 20 minutes, but I think Rangers just edged it. Just before, well, 20 minutes before half time, they really took control of the game, and turned out that was the telling factor in the game, really.
But the Rangers' defence, I thought, were outstanding and when they were under pressure.
Exactly. The last 20 minutes, Aberdeen bombarded them, really. It was just everything was in the box, in and out, and they defended magnificently. There's no doubt about that.
Would you have any quibble with Ian Durrant as man of the match? There were a few contenders, to be fair.
There certainly was, yeah. There was quite a few contenders, actually, but I think Ian Durrant, for me anyway, stood out above the rest of me.
And as an ex-pro yourself, having known the injury that he suffered and what he's gone through, it's tremendous to see him come back.
It's incredible, really, what he's done, and to come back and to perform at that level, to that standard, is superb, really. Tremendous.
With a couple of strange goals in the Skull Cup final early in the season with deflections, with another 2 today. Curious thing in Rangers-Aberdeen matches. There's the Aberdeen goal, which came, of course, just close enough to the end to set up a tremendous finish. He struck it well enough, but what a wicked deflection from a goalkeeper's point of view, Eric.
Yeah, it's just taking a touch there. He has hit it well, but I think it's John Brown actually that's come off his leg, and Andy Gorham can do nothing with that. He's completely wrong-footed. He waits all on the other foot, and he can do nothing about it.
Yes, and even Andy Gorham could do absolutely nothing about that. But he did this from the reverse angle.
Yeah, he does hit it well, but he's really lost. There's nothing he can do there.
No, absolutely. And the last 13 minutes, tremendously exciting. And I must admit, I never got the feeling that Aberdeen were going to do it. You always felt Rangers were going to hang on.
A lot of pressure, but really, they didn't really convince us that they were going to do something with it, you know. They'll be very disappointed, Aberdeen, because they can play a lot better than that.
They can. Well, let's take a look at the 2 Rangers goals, which in the end were the vital ones and have won the cup for the 26th time. The first of them, Neil Murray said he's certainly claiming it would be churlish to deny him it in his first cup final appearance, but poor Brian Irvine will have nightmares about this, won't he?
Brian's mistimed his clearance there, and it's broke to Neil Murray, who I thought had got a bad first touch and had taken it away from the goal. But he's done the right thing in trying to get it across the front of the goal towards the back post, and he's taken a lucky deflection again off Big Brian. So a bit of a personal nightmare for Big Brian, but goal nonetheless. Yeah, let's just see, is this shot? I don't actually think. I think it's going across the face of the goal, to be quite honest. And Alec McLeish is actually at the back post. But,
and this is no argument about this one, though.
No, magnificent, lovely build up there. 1, 2, 3, Martin Haitley into the space, and a lovely ball in by Durrant, and what a finish. The only place it can go, but it's found the net.
We've said it many times, that for a big man who is renowned for his power in the air, he's got a lovely touch in the ground, hasn't he?
Fearsome, yeah. Tremendous. Lovely strike too, a lovely clean strike. He was going at full pace there when he hit it, and great finish.
So those were the goals that took Rangers in 2-0 up at half-time, and although Aberdeen got that deflected goal back through Lee Richardson, 2-1 the final score, and Rangers complete the treble with those goals from Neil Murray and Mark Haitley. So it's a treble, it's a deserved treble. They've been the outstanding team of the season, clearly, and it's for everyone else in Scottish football. It must be depressing to hear Neil Murray talking about, well, we'll just have to do it again next year.
Well, that's it. Where do they go from here? The young players at 19, 20 come in and they win a treble. Where do they go from here? They do deserve it, there's no doubt about that. They've been outstanding for both in Europe and in the domestic scene. It's been great for Scottish football, but I'd have liked to have seen Aberdeen maybe win it this time, just to set things up a wee bit better for next season, because Rangers are now looking awesome.
Do you still feel, though, that perhaps Aberdeen will be the main challengers to Rangers again next season?
Yeah, definitely. As I said, they can play a lot better, and Aberdeen are capable of beating Rangers on their day, there's no doubt about that. If they can sustain the kind of level of performance that they had during the season, they had a great run during the season and put Rangers right to the end, but it's very difficult.
Interesting too to see the response to Ian Jess's arrival from the Aberdeen fans. They wanted to see him, and although in the end he could do little about it, it was good to see him back.
Yeah, it's good to see him back in the park, I think, and it's very pleasing for the Aberdeen fans. They were obviously expecting miracles, but that tends to happen.
Oh well. Eric, thanks a lot for joining us today. It'll be a long and disappointing road back north, obviously, for those Dons fans who made it down here to Celtic Park. But for Rangers, of course, just as it has been for most of the season, it's a time once again of celebration with the treble completed, the first time in 15 years, a 2-1 win over Aberdeen here at Celtic Park. We're back tonight at 10:55 with a special cup final sports scene match of the day. Jock Brown and Derek Johnson will join me. We'll look back over all the highlights of the match and all the major talking points. That's at 10:55. BBC Scotland on 1. So there we are. It's been a long afternoon. It's been an enthralling Tennant Scottish Cup final, but Rangers have done the treble. From all of us at Celtic Park, bye-bye.